What's good, good people? Jeff Lightsey Jr. here with the Black Boss Channel and Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell because we upload every single day. Now, Cam Newton has been cut by the New England Patriots. The Patriots are going to roll with Mac Jones as QB1, the rookie out of Alabama. Now, there's always been these jokes about how Alabama produces everything but good quarterbacks. Well, now they have 3 starting quarterbacks in the league right now. All that played in Alabama over the last, 4 or 5 years. Mac Jones, Tua, and Jalen Hurts are all starting quarterbacks in the NFL. We don't know how long they'll be starting quarterbacks, but they're all starters right now in the league. And Cam has been cut, and moving forward, he will not be a part of the New England Patriots. Now, let's read some of why Cam was potentially cut. Some of the things that I have been seeing is that Cam, he was told he lost. Now, this is all speculation, all rumors. I do not know if any of this is true. All of this is speculation and rumors. We're going to talk about Cam. We're also going to talk more about Bishop Sycamore, the fake high school that scammed ESPN. Now, for those of you who don't know, Bishop Sycamore is not a real school. It is a fake charter school that scammed their way onto playing on ESPN against one of the best high schools in the country. Leave your thoughts in the chat. Let me know if you heard the story of Bishop Sycamore. We're going to talk about Bishop Sycamore. We're going to talk about Cam Newton. We're going to cover all of this today right here on Victory Formation and on the Black Boss Channel. Now back to Cam. So Cam, this is the latest that I've seen from Cam. I'm going to share my screen and show you this tweet put out by Albert Breer. He's a reporter. He says ex-Patriots quarterback, ex-Patriots. It's crazy. Quarterback Cam Newton with a nice message via his Instagram story on his way out of Foxborough. Says this for Newton was a very good teammate and will fit right in the culture there. I really appreciate, he's writing that weird text Cam Newton writes in. I really appreciate all the love and the support during this time, but I must say, please don't feel sorry for me. I'm good. One finger, one pinky, one thumb, I don't know. This is weird, one love. This is weird Cam Newton talk. So, my question is now, have we seen the last of Cam Newton? Leave your thoughts in the chat. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Have we seen the last of Cam Newton? And here's why I asked this. Is Cam Newton better than a lot of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now? I think so. I'm not going to say a lot, but a few of them. I think Cam could probably be better than Teddy Bridgewater. He's the starter over there in Denver. I think Cam could potentially be better than Jameis Winston. He's the starter over there in New Orleans. I think Cam Newton could potentially be better than Tua Tagovailoa or the guy down in Houston, the guy down with the Texans, or Jalen Hurts, or, there's a number of guys that I think Cam, if he's not better than, he's right there. I think he could potentially be better than. But the problem with Cam is, 1, all of those guys are situated. 2, the season starts, this week, next week? And 3, Cam is not equipped to be a backup quarterback, right? Cam is not one of those guys you can ever see coming off the bench. Now, don't get me wrong, right? I love great players, but great NFL guys aren't like NBA guys. There's been really good NBA guys, Hall of Fame NBA guys, that once their peak was over, they wanted to continue to play, and they took a minority role coming off the bench. Carmelo Anthony comes to mind right off the top of my head. Vince Carter played 22 years, and that last half, from year 14 on, it was a lot on the bench. NFL guys, you don't really see that. You don't see a guy, especially starting quarterbacks. You don't see a guy who was a starting quarterback who was over the hill, past their prime or whatever, decide to become a Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't know. Tell me, leave your thoughts in the chat. Leave your thoughts in the chat. Have you ever seen a starting quarterback that decided to be a Ryan Fitzpatrick that was once as good as Cam? Like, Cam won an MVP. Cam went to a Super Bowl. Cam, has all the commercials. Superman Cam had the Carolinas going crazy for like a 5 to 7 year period. Just crazy, nuts. And now he is going to be relegated to being someone's backup. He's going to be relegated to being someone's backup. That's what Cam Newton's up against. Now, I've never seen it done before. If somebody in the chat can tell me, I've never seen it happen ever before in my life. So, what happened in New England, what I believe happened, is that the quarterback competition between New England, between Cam and Mac Jones, was really close. And when you have a really close quarterback battle, you go with the young one. You go with the rook. It's like, man, hey, We might as well start getting him experience now. He is the future. Mac Jones is the future of the New England Patriots. And so now I need to start getting him reps. I need to start seeing what he's like under pressure. I need to see him in real games. We know when the games actually matter, not the preseason games, but when the games actually matter. And so I need to go ahead and make this happen. So what I think would happen, this is me just speculation. I think the Patriots told Cam, hey, we're rocking with Mac. And Cam was like, okay, cool, but I don't want to be a backup. I'm good on being Mac Jones' backup. I want to go somewhere where I can compete, even if it's temporarily, because most of these spots is going to be temporary. Even if it's temporarily, I want to go somewhere where I can compete to be the starter. Because ain't no chance. Once you lose the initial starting job in New England, you ain't getting another chance at it. Not with Mac Jones there. So Cam wanted to, I think, wanted to go somewhere he could compete for the starting job. Whether that is in Houston. I saw Mike, shout out to Mike Daly. He run down in Houston, whether it's in Houston. Philly just traded for Gardner Minshew, so it won't be Philly. And then all the other bad teams, or the teams that we think are going to be bad, have young quarterbacks. The Bengals and the Jacksonville Jaguars and, the Jets. All those teams have quarterbacks. So it's going to be interesting, and that's why I say we could potentially have seen the last of Cam Newton. As much as I love me some Cam Newton, and as great as he was for the game of football in the NFL, I mean, can you see him being a traveling quarterback? Can you see Cam Newton becoming what Robert Griffin was the last couple of years of his career? Can you see Cam Newton becoming Ryan Fitzpatrick? Can you see Cam Newton becoming Brian Hoyer or Matt Castle or... You know what I mean? Like, I don't see it. I don't see Cam Newton becoming a journeyman traveling backup quarterback. Can you see Cam Newton becoming Joe Flacco, what Flacco is now? I just don't see it. He's too big of a personality. He's too big of an entity. He's too big of a distraction, to be honest, to be a backup. He is way too big of a distraction. I mean, like, think about it. If you bring in Cam Newton as your backup, is he not going to distract the team? Are media members and cameras and attention not going to be focused on Cam Newton most of the time that he's there on your organization? Shout out to Juice. Juice says there hasn't been one Alabama QB has been above average, let alone the fact that Mac Jones was the 4th drafted, and he's getting hyped as he's already a Pro Bowler. So here's the thing about the Alabama quarterback situation thing, right? Okay, so yes, the Alabama quarterbacks, a lot of, not just the quarterbacks, I'm not even going to subjugate it just the quarterbacks, but a lot of Alabama players, obviously there's some superstars. You got Derrick Henry, you got Julio Jones, you got, you know what I'm saying, there are a lot of them become superstars. But when you're the best team every year in college football, you should have a few superstars, Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, whoever. But the quarterback, here's the thing about the quarterbacks. Most quarterbacks in the league, they don't come from Alabama-type programs. Think about the best quarterbacks in the league. This is my only argument of pushback on that. Alabama has 3 starting quarterbacks in the league right now, and they all played within the program in the last 5 years. But even the great quarterbacks in the league right now, they don't come from perennial powerhouses. They don't come from Alabama or Ohio State. Clemson just got Trevor Lawrence, and they had Deshaun Watson. Well, Clemson's put out besides Clemson, they put out a couple good quarterbacks. But Georgia don't have a long lineage of quarterbacks in the league. Oklahoma's probably got the best quarterbacks in the NFL, right? So, I mean, think about it. Lamar Jackson went to Louisville. Tom Brady went to Michigan, 20 years ago. Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes had a losing record in college. Justin Herbert went to Oregon. So the best quarterbacks in the league don't come from, most of the time, besides Clemson, they put out Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence now, come from perennial powerhouses. And Alabama's offense was catered towards running the ball and having one stud wide receiver. And now their offensive philosophy has shifted. And that's what I believe. Now they're going to start producing some of those quarterbacks that are NFL guys. Now that's how you get a Mac Jones. That's how you get a Tua Tagovailoa. That's how you get a, Jalen Hurts, even though he kind of got ran out of Alabama. But now that their offense is shifted the way that it is since Lane Kiffin and then Sarkisian, now the old coach Bill O'Brien. Obviously, Nick Saban's whole philosophy has changed, and now you're going to start seeing them produce more NFL quarterbacks. Somebody said Cam Newton to the Vikings. That would be interesting, but the Vikings have a lot of money tied into Kirk Cousins. And then they potentially drafted his replacement in Kellen Mond in the second or third round this past draft. So that's going to be, it's going to be interesting to see. He said for $8 million a year, yeah, I could see him being. No, I think it's not about the money for Cam. For Cam, it's about dignity and pride. Think about this, Mike. Thanks for the comment, but think about this. Cam Newton has been the best at every level he's played at. He was the best high school player in the state of Georgia, won state championships, got college offers everywhere. He was the best college player. Well, first he went to Florida, messed up, then became the best JUCO player in the country. Number 1 JUCO player, JUCO national championship. Then he went to college and became the best college player, Heisman Trophy, national championship at Auburn. Then he was the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, 2011. He won Rookie of the Year, he won an MVP, and he went to a Super Bowl. A guy with that kind of resume don't want to be Ryan Fitzpatrick. He don't want to be, you know what I mean? Like, no, what guy with that kind of resume in the history of football became a journeyman quarterback? What guy with that kind of resume became Chase Daniel? Like, Cam has a stacked resume. Cam has an unprecedented stacked resume. High school championship best player in high school. JUCO championship best player in JUCO. College championship best player in college. Heisman Trophy. Number 1 overall pick. Rookie of the Year. MVP. Super Bowl appearance. He didn't win it, but he went there. You don't become a journeyman quarterback with that kind of resume. I'm sorry. So that's why I'm saying this might be the last that we've seen of Cam Newton. He's too good. He's way too good. He has too much pride. I remember this quote. Shout out to Kobe Bryant, the late, great Kobe Bryant. I remember Kobe, they asked him, because he was getting up in age, and obviously Kobe played 20 years, and they were like, hey, Kobe, you know what I'm saying? Like, we see some of these guys, Dirk Nowitzki, Tim Duncan, Vince Carter, whoever the guy is at the time. It's like, hey, man, like, would you become a guy like that? Come off the bench, average 15 a game, you know what I'm saying? And Kobe looked at them like, hell no. Once I stop being able to do what I do, average 25 a game or whatever, then I'm done. So I think Cam Newton, once he realizes, once I can't be Cam Newton and folks aren't giving me a chance to be a starting quarterback, I'm done. Cam has a million business ventures outside of the league. He racked up a ton of money in endorsements. He has a cigar lounge. He has a hat, a clothing line. He has, started a YouTube channel. Like, Cam Newton's straight. And if he can't be a starting quarterback in the league, he's not going to be no backup. Cam Newton, I remember when they asked Melo about being a backup, and Melo eventually had to subside and decide to be a backup. Yeah, Cam Newton ain't going out like that. But NBA players is different. It's a lot different for NBA players, but still. Cam Newton starting quarterback with that kind of resume, it's over. He's either going to be a starter or he's going to retire. That's simply put. I predicted Mac Jones to eventually start, maybe halfway through the season. I think the Patriots will regret this decision. Now, that will be interesting. See, here's the thing about the Patriots, though. Here's the thing about their situation. They are primed to they have a really good team. Like, let's just be honest. Their offensive line is revamped. They got 8 players that opted back into the season. They had 8 opt-outs last year. They had 8 opt-outs. A quarterback got COVID. They had to play a guy named Jarrett Stidham, and they still won 7 games last year. They went 7-9. This year, they had a full offseason. They drafted the quarterback of the future. They get 8 guys to opt back in to the season. They got 8 guys back from the COVID list that opted out. They have a revamped offensive line. They have a stable of running backs, so much so that they traded a former first-round pick over to the Rams. I think Damian Harris is a really, really good back. Him and Mac were college teammates, and I think Damian will, Kentucky native, will do really, really good for the Patriots. He looked really, really good. I think Pro Football Focus, even though I don't really care about them, I think they ranked him as like the second best running back all season last year. The Patriots will be fine. I don't think they're going to regret this. I think they need Mac to go ahead and take his lumps. But the thing about Mac Jones, is that he's a good decision maker. Now, obviously, he played at Alabama, and it's easy to make good decisions when you got Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle and Najee Harris and the best offensive line and the best defense and the best everything, and Nick Saban as your head coach and Steve Sarkisian calling the plays. But Mac Jones is a good decision maker. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think they'll regret it. I think they'll be happy with the decision that they made. But Mac Jones is primed to succeed. Mac Jones, put it like this. Mac Jones will have a better season this year than Trevor Lawrence will have in Jacksonville, than Zach Wilson will have with the Jets. Hell, he might have a better season than Justin Fields with the Chicago Bears because he's in a better position to succeed. He is in a better position to succeed. With the weapons around him, with the offensive line, with the head coach, the best head coach ever in the history of the league, he is in a best position to succeed. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. Kenneth says Alabama quarterbacks don't have to scramble in college. They have a great offensive line. That's a different story. No, you're right. You're right. The thing about the Patriots, think about Brady's 20 years with the Patriots. They always keep a pretty good offensive line. The Patriots don't do everything right. They're horrible at getting receivers. They don't even really draft that great, at least not in the early rounds. But they keep a pretty good offensive line. We never really saw Brady under duress. They went out and got Trip Brown back from the Raiders after the Raiders, overpaid for an overweight offensive lineman, but whatever. And they keep a pretty good offensive line. So Mac's not going to be under a whole lot of pressure. And they have a stable of running backs. And they went out and signed 2 tight ends, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. So he'll have great security blankets, great guys to block, maximum protection. Mac Jones will be fine. They said Cam to the Detroit Lions. Charles says it's send Cam to the Detroit Lions. Here's the thing. The Detroit Lions have Jared Goff, but they don't want Jared Goff neither. That was kind of just the deal to get all them picks back from the Rams. The Lions are looking to get a quarterback in next year's draft. They're going to be in what I call the Spencer Rattler sweepstakes, right? The Lions, the Houston Texans, these are going to be teams, the Eagles potentially. They're going to be what I call the Spencer Rattler sweepstakes. For those who don't know, Spencer Rattler is the starting quarterback of the Oklahoma Sooners. Spencer Rattler, to me, will win the Heisman. Spencer Rattler, to me, is the best college quarterback in college football. And to me, Spencer Rattler will be the number 1 overall pick. It just depends on which team gets it, whether it's the Houston Texans, whether it's my man Charles promises the Detroit Lions or whoever. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. It says Belichick fans and media maybe begin to regret this decision if the Patriots don't go to the playoffs. They're not going to regret it. I don't see them regretting this, Juice or Mason, because this is what they wanted. This is what they wanted. And you know, and I'm going to be 100% honest too with this, right? I think it was more than just football, right? A lot of times they say if the competition is close between the veteran and the young guy, you pick the young guy because he's the one that's your future. What also plays a factor into this, guys, now tune in and listen to this. What also, to me, played a factor in this Cam Newton stuff? COVID played a factor. Cam Newton's not vaccinated. Say what you want about vaccinated, not vaccinated. Cam Newton isn't vaccinated. And if your starting quarterback for your team isn't vaccinated and he gets the virus, then you have to go through a bunch of COVID protocol. Well, if you're the Baltimore Ravens and your starting quarterback's Lamar Jackson, then you do that. You don't give a damn about all this. It's like, all right, we got to do some extra, be extra, put extra glass, plexiglass, whatever, for Lamar. Cool, we'll do it. If you're the Vikings and Kirk Cousins and you're paying him 35, 40 million a year, cool, we'll do it. If you're Cam Newton and we've already drafted your replacement, listen to this. We've already drafted your replacement. We've already decided you're not our future of our program. You missed time last year because of COVID. You've already missed time this offseason because of COVID. And you still won't get the vaccine. So this is just the mind of a team. And we could potentially miss you more for games again this season. And not even if you get it, but if you're in close contact with somebody who gets it and, the quarantine and all that stuff. We don't even want to put up with that headache. Why would we want to deal with that headache? We already know you're not the future anyway. You and Mac are playing, essentially the same. And you giving us another reason to let you go? Guess what? We're going to let you go. Right or wrong, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right at all. But I think this also factored into what took place with Cam Newton. I think that was also a factor of what took place for Cam Newton. And then Keenan adds, his pass percentage sucks. His second half of the season for Cam, pass percentage was pretty garbage. I think he was still sick a little bit because remember he did get COVID and he had to miss a couple games or whatever. But, it is what it is. Detroit will be a good move, but that goes to the talk of Patriot collusion. I don't see Cam Newton wanting to go to Detroit Lions. And that's another thing. I don't see, because once again, he's going to be the backup technically because they're paying Jared Goff a ton of money. They're paying Jared Goff a whole bunch of money, like a whole lot of money. That's the Rams' old contract. Jared Goff's on a big deal. So I don't see that happening. Name another quarterback from Alabama. Name one solid quarterback. I spoke about this earlier, and there's another comment is like all our Alabama quarterbacks have been trash. Alabama's system, the way they played ball, first of all the great quarterbacks in the league, none of them came from powerhouse conferences. Russell Wilson went to Wisconsin and had a transfer from NC State. Baker Mayfield went to Oklahoma. Oklahoma is the biggest conference with high-level quarterbacks in the league right now. They got Baker, they got Jalen Hurts, they got Kyler Murray. And all of them within the last 5 years, right? All of them come out of that program in the last 5 years. Over the next 5 years, first of all, over the last 5 years, Alabama's put 3 quarterbacks in the league. They have. And over the next 5 years, you could see another 3 quarterbacks in the league from Alabama. The system and the way they play offense at Alabama has changed, right? They used to be just, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, get the best running back in high school football, whether it was Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry, TJ Yeldon, Trent Richardson, name your favorite running back. They'd get one stud receiver, just one at a time. Normal, it's how it used to be. One stud, well, they have a stable of stud running backs. They all had to wait their turn or they transferred like Alvin Kamara. They have one stud receiver, Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones. And then they'd run the ball, play great defense, and then whenever they threw it to the same one stud receiver. Now at Alabama, it's a whole different ball game. They get about 3 to 4 stud receivers. Now they're getting stud quarterbacks. Bryce Young, I think, will play in the NFL. They're getting NFL-type quarterbacks. They weren't recruiting NFL-style quarterbacks. They were recruiting quarterbacks that could work and fit in their system. Now they're getting quarterbacks that can play in the NFL. There's the difference. So, yeah, the history of the quarterbacks have been trash, but I think moving forward, they will put more and more quarterbacks in the NFL. They'll be more like Clemson and Oklahoma and less like how they've been in the past. What about the XFL? Cam ain't going to no XFL. Shout out to Reynald, but what about that? He can help attract NFL players. Yet, Cam... He's too big for the XFL. I'm just being honest. The XFL was The Rock bought the XFL for like $15 million. Cam Newton is not going to the XFL. Cam Newton, and we talked about that. Cam didn't want to get the vax, and I think that played a factor on why he doesn't have a team and doesn't have a job right now. I think that played a factor on why he's not on the Patriots right now. Because like I said, when you are a quarterback of Lamar Jackson's caliber, we will jump through hoops because you don't want to get the vaccine. We'll jump through all the hoops you want. You Lamar freaking Jackson. You've won 75% of your games since you entered the league. In the amount of games that you've played, you have the 4th most touchdowns in NFL history in the, 38 games that or 40 games that you played as a starter. 4th most touchdowns. Only behind like Patrick Mahomes and Dan Marino. I think 3rd or 4th most. We'll jump through extra hoops for Lamar Jackson. When you're Cam Newton, and we've already drafted your replacement, and you're not at your prime, Cam Newton in 2012, they'd have jumped through those same hoops. But Cam Newton 2021, they're not jumping through those hoops of not getting a vaccine and potentially missing games. Should have taken, I don't know what, I'm not going to tell him what he should have did, but I'm just telling you, I think that played a factor. I definitely think Jared Goff isn't good. But he's getting paid a whole lot of money. So when you pay a guy a bunch of money, you throw him out there. I think they're going to draft Jared Goff's replacement, though. Like I said, Charles, the Detroit Lions will be in the in the Spencer Rattler sweepstakes. Spencer Rattler, Sam Howell. Those are names to Sam Howell down at North Carolina. Those are names to remember if you're a Detroit Lions fans, because one of them is going to be your quarterback next year. I sadly think it is too, man. And Cam brought so many memories and was such a good, entity for the league because he had a swag and a demeanor that, especially during that time when he got drafted in 2011, now we're seeing more cats with swag like Cam, right? More cats at starting quarterback position with swag like Cam. But when he was doing it, you know what I'm saying? It had been a while. It's been since Vic that we've seen somebody with that swag, that demeanor, having that much fun on the football field. I mean, the Superman thing, when Cam started that and was doing that during the games and was dabbing on the games, he had everybody pissed off. Everybody was mad at Cam when he was doing that because he was a beast. Should go to Washington. I don't know what Washington's doing with their quarterback situation. I do not know what in the world Washington is doing with their quarterback situation. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with them moving forward. They could potentially be in that Sam Howell, JT Daniels. They won't get Spencer Rattler, but JT Daniel, Malik Willis out of Liberty. Keep that name in mind. Malik Willis out of Liberty is a guy, sneaky guy that could end up on a Washington football team next year. He plays at Liberty right now. Shout out to Eric Williams, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. Cam to Washington to play for his old coach. Fitzpatrick is used to being replaced. I could see this. Because this is the second time people have mentioned the Washington football team. The problem is, I think Washington is going to get them a quarterback in next year's draft. And so if you're Cam, do you want to just go to Washington and potentially play? Because you're not going to start week one. Obviously, week one is like coming up, right? You're not going to start week one. You probably, if you go there and win the job, you probably won't win the job until week 4 or 5 or something. So do you want to go be a dummy mission quarterback for the Washington football team for 12 weeks? Just to have a young cat, Malik Willis or JT Daniel or, some young cat that's in college right now come and take your job by next season? Is that worth it if you're Cam Newton? To me, no. To me, I'd rather spend that time focusing on my business ventures. I'd rather spend that time doing something else. Obviously, I think Cam still loves the game and still wants to play. And if he signs to Washington tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised because now that you guys, Beck and Mason, brought it to my attention. But I'm just not so sure you want to take that job knowing that you're going to only be a starter for 12 weeks, potentially. Now, Washington has a really good team. Washington with Cam Newton would do some damage. So Eric says Rutgers will be a surprise team. Greg Schiano's down at Rutgers now as the head coach. I don't know what Rutgers is going to do. I'm going to talk about Jackson State, though. I really am. I'm curious. Jackson State, they have their little docuseries airing this week, and it's brought a lot of eyeballs, and it's really entertaining. So Jackson State is the team I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to get to Bishop Sycamore, but I'm trying to get through all these Cam things. Cam takes first. The Patriots will be trash. I don't think so, Chris, but really feel like they set Cam up with that terrible team last year. Well, no, take that back. I don't think so. That team won 7 games last year and they had 8 opt-outs. Now, the Patriots were garbage, especially on the offensive side of the ball, but we knew that. That's why Brady left. Brady would still be a Patriot right now if they didn't, have a lack of weapons last year. I mean, I can't tell you anybody on their offense from last year except Damian Harris, right? Their offense was garbage. It was god-awful. They drafted 2 tight ends in like the 2nd or 3rd round, and they didn't play a lick, right? So that's why they went out and spent all that money in free agency. Got Nelson Aguilar, got Kendrick Bourne, got Jonnu Smith, got Hunter Henry, got all these players, right, to set up either Cam and or Mac Jones for the future, right? Cam, I think, was a victim of the vaccine, if I'm just being honest. Now, the more and more I think about it, I think Cam was in a close quarterback battle with Mac Jones. And the fact that he got COVID last year, missed time, got COVID this year, had to miss some time, and he had to go through the protocols of the guys who don't have a vaccine, right? I think the Patriots are like, yo, we're not going to jump through all these extra hoops for a guy we plan on replacing before the season's over with. So why not just start the Mac Jones experiment now? And I think that's essentially what took place. Cam has won a national championship in JUCO, Division I, and played in the Super Bowl. Has been more successful than half the quarterbacks in the league. Who are we to judge him? I mean, we're not judging Cam Newton. We're all, last I checked, somebody tell me if I'm wrong. We're all rooting for Cam. I just think his career is over because I don't see Cam, because of that resume that I've stated and that you just laid out, wants to be a backup. He don't want to be Ryan Fitzpatrick. He don't want to be Chase Daniel or Mitch Trubisky. This is Cam freaking Newton. He is that good. He is that talented. He's been a beast like that. So I don't think he wants to be a backup. He could go to a team like Washington, potentially link up with Ron Rivera, potentially. But then he's going to get replaced next year by a young quarterback, Malik Willis, JT Daniel, Sam Howell, somebody like that. So I don't think so. At the end of the day, Cam doesn't play another down. He will go down as a legend. Places where, exactly. And he's got business ventures. He's got a dope YouTube channel. He's got a thriving social media platform. He's got a cigar bar down there in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Man, Cam is straight. He got his deal with Under Armour. He'll probably link up with, could do some coaching if he wants to. He's got the Cam Newton camps that he does with Under Armour. He'll probably do some stuff with the Under Armour All-American game. Like, Cam Newton is super solid, man. Like, we ain't worried about that. And then the Colts will take him. Nah, the Colts got Carson Wentz. And shout out to Shantez. But the Colts have Carson Wentz. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Carson Wentz because we don't know which Carson Wentz the Colts are going to get. And it's going to be really, really interesting. It says, how dudes like Sam Darnold, Ryan Fitzpatrick have starting jobs. Well, that's because, let's talk about Sam Darnold. First, I'm going to start with Sam Darnold because Sam Darnold is 24. That's another thing working against Cam. Age and attrition. Cam's 32, which isn't old because we're seeing Brady and some of the Rodgers and these guys playing well into their 40s. But Cam is 32, but he's like a 32 for a running back. Ain't too many 32-year-old running backs in the league because they get rid of running backs really heavy. And Cam has wear and tear like a running back from the hits that he's taken, from the punishment he's done, from all the running around and the hits. I mean, people be hitting Cam like he is a running back or receiver. Sam Darnold's getting all the chances in the world because he was a high pick. He showed a lot of promise and potential coming out of college, and a lot of teams feel like they can fix a guy. If they see potential in a guy, they feel like they can fix him. Sam Darnold was god-awful in New York, but the situation in New York was god-awful. Like, it was just horrible. And teams down there in Carolina feel like you put him in our system with our weapons, with better protection, we can fix Sam Darnold. So that's why he's a starting quarterback. Ryan Fitzpatrick is a starting quarterback in the NFL because he's bounced around almost every single team in the league. He's bounced around every single team in the league. And anytime a team is in that transition period, right, like Washington, or like, the Dolphins with Tua last year, or, the Bills before they drafted Josh Allen, he always comes in right during that transition period. Same with Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton has come in. He was a backup last year. He was a starter. The Bears, got lucky and saw Justin Fields fall to number 11. Andy Dalton probably won't be starting by week 3, right? I think the Bears are trying to do what Bill O'Brien and the Texans did a few years back when they drafted Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson was clearly better than Tom Savage. I don't know if you guys remember this, but when Deshaun Watson was drafted by the Houston Texans, they had a guy by the name of Tom Savage, who's not even in the league anymore. He was the starting quarterback, and Bill O'Brien just refused to start the rookie, which was Deshaun Watson, even though he was clearly better in every aspect of football. And so what happened with Tom Savage? He played one half of football for the Texans. Awful. Deshaun Watson started the second half, and the rest is history. I think the same will be for Andy Dalton with Justin Fields. I think Andy Dalton was promised that he would be the starting quarterback of the Bears, not knowing that they would get a chance to draft Justin Fields. They'll start him for a game, maybe 2 games, maybe 3 games. Justin Fields will have that starting job before their bye week, I believe. So that's going to be interesting. They say, is Cam Newton a Hall of Famer? No, Cam Newton's not. I hate to say it. Cam Newton will go in the College Football Hall of Fame. Cam Newton will go in the Auburn Hall of Fame, the Carolina Panthers Ring of Honor, Hall of Fame, whatever they do. But is he a NFL Hall of Famer? No. If he won that Super Bowl against the Broncos, you'd have more of an argument. But I don't think he's an NFL Hall of Famer. I love me some Cam Newton. He did a lot for the game. He made the game fun and entertaining. Hall of Fame though, nah, I don't think so. Eric says Sam is good. The Jets just suck. Yeah, and we'll see. I don't know if Sam Darnold's good. I think Sam Darnold has a lot of potential, but Sam Darnold also saw a ghost on the NFL field. And anytime a starting quarterback, my starting quarterback says I'm seeing ghosts, because that's just a phrase people use. I've never actually even heard a person actually say, I'm seeing ghosts. That's a phrase people say, oh, he's seeing ghosts out there. He's lost. He's confused. He's garbage, whatever. I've never actually heard a person or a player say, oh, I'm seeing ghosts out there. And I heard Sam Darnold say that. So I don't know how good he is. I think he's good. Maybe, but I don't really know. The Jets are horrible, though. But we'll see what happens. Kermit says they never protected Cam on the hits like they did the other QBs. Punished him because of his size. Defensive players never eased up, and they would on Brady. Oh, absolutely. Because here's the thing about Cam that's different between some of the quarterbacks that you compare him to in the league. One, Cam Newton ran a lot more. And Cam Newton at times used his size and power to truck defenders, right? So anytime a defender got a chance to lay a hit on Cam, legal or illegal, because there was a lot of illegal hits put on Cam Newton, they took it. See, guys that run around, even in the league now, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, whatever, they use their quickness and speed to get around people and to make people look silly and to avoid hits. Cam Newton used speed and power. And so anytime he got a chance, he would use his speed and power and like quarterback powers, jumping on his athleticism to jump over the top. And so, but the problem with that is that people no longer saw him as a quarterback. They saw him as a running back, or they saw him as an offensive player. And so referees included didn't protect him like they protect the Breezes and the Tom Bradys and the, even like a guy like Russell Wilson. They didn't protect Cam because they saw him use his power to his benefit. And so if they saw him taking a hit, which would be illegal a lot of times, and would definitely be a flag if you saw Tom Brady take that hit, or if you saw Justin Herbert take that hit, or Josh Allen, or Patrick Mahomes. They didn't do that for Cam. You know what I'm saying? Because Cam used his power in a lot of instances to overpower defenders. Tom Savage played at Rutgers. Yeah, Tom Savage, he got his job taken by. It said, college Hall of Fame. He just misses the NFL. Yeah, I think he barely misses it. I definitely think he barely misses it. It's sad because you're right. Cam probably won't get into Hall of Fame yet. I believe Eli Manning will, and wrote the defense. Eli, I made a video about this. I don't think Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer, but Eli Manning will get in because he not only does he have 2 Super Bowl wins, he has 2 Super Bowl wins over the GOAT. He has 2 Super Bowl wins over the GOAT, over Tom Brady. And when you do that, when you prevent Tom Brady from being undefeated, you and Nick Foles, now Nick Foles won't get in because of that, but you have over 200 consecutive starts. Eli Manning had like the second longest NFL start streak, like starting consecutive games. Brett Favre has number 1. I think Eli Manning is number 2. You have that in your back pocket. You have 2 Super Bowl wins. You have a few Pro Bowls. Eli, and you're a Manning. You're the brother of Peyton, son of Archie, uncle of Cooper. Brother of Cooper, but uncle of Arch. He's supposed to be like the next great quarterback. He's going to get in. Those family ties help him out a lot. Eli got some stats. Yeah, Eli's got some stats. I feel like everybody giving up on Cam, and he still plays the same. Derek, I don't know, though, bro. I don't think he plays at an elite level anymore. If you watched Cam Newton last year, you know he didn't play the game at an elite level. Now, he can still play. Can he still play? Absolutely. Like I said, he's better than Jared Goff. He's better than Jalen Hurts. He's better than Andy Dalton. He's better than a lot of guys that are starting quarterbacks. He's better than Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's better than, you know what I mean? He's better than a lot of people. But there's a few things that we're factoring in with Cam Newton. I think the vaccine, we talked about that. The vaccine played a factor. I think Mac Jones, the drafting of Mac Jones played a factor. All of that stuff, and the fact that I don't think Cam Newton wants to be a backup. He don't want to be a backup quarterback. All of those things played a factor into, him not being a starting quarterback for the Patriots and potentially his career being over. So it's going to be interesting. A lot of white. You ain't lying, especially up there in Boston. Up there in Boston, they make things very, very clear on how they stand on, you know what I'm saying? You know, so it is what it is, especially that Sky Zolak guy. Oh, rap music's ruining our game. Man, shut up. That's right. Recognize how Eli owns the GOAT. Eli's Hall of Fame. I mean, I think he is too. I ain't going to go as far as say he owns him. He did beat him twice in the Super Bowl. Whether it was defensive led or not, it happened. It definitely happened. Brady rode his defense a lot too. Adam Vinatieri, man, yeah, he won a lot of people he made a lot of people a lot of money. Whether it's gamblers, coaches, players, Super Bowls, Adam Vinatieri made a whole lot of people a whole lot of money. The timing is bad. He's got a system he's familiar with. Yeah. So the Washington thing for Cam makes some sense. The Detroit thing, not so much. But we'll see. But before I get out of here, guys, I do want to talk about the Bishop Sycamore stuff. So for those of you who don't know, let's talk about it. Bishop Sycamore. So for those of you who don't know, Bishop Sycamore was supposed to be this online-only charter school out of Ohio. And they played a game on ESPN. They played a game on Sunday on ESPN. They went against IMG Academy, which is like the best high school football team in the country. They've been the best team. They have the best facilities. The players live there. It's like the Oak Hill or the Montverde of football. That's what IMG is. IMG Academy is like Oak Hill or Montverde Academy in the football aspect. Like players from all across the country transfer into IMG Academy. So they're stacked with elite talent, players that are going to play at Clemson and Alabama and Ohio State and all that. So they played this Bishop Sycamore school out of Ohio, which told, the people who produced the game, that made the game, they had several Division I prospects. It turns out Bishop Sycamore is not even a real school. They are scam artists, and the coach has a warrant out for his arrest for fraud. One of the players for Bishop Sycamore actually spoke with Complex Sports about the conditions at Bishop Sycamore. So what happened was Bishop Sycamore found out ESPN was going to broadcast a high school football game. And they were able to finesse and scam their way onto the game. They end up getting beat, the hell beat out of them, 58-0, because once again, IMG is like the best football team in the country in high school. But Bishop Sycamore don't even have high school players on the team. Bishop Sycamore is a team comprised of former JUCO players, JUCO dropouts that basically, I guess, couldn't get the scholarships or whatever to go on and play Division I. So they sign up for this rec league team, and they're playing high schools in the state of Ohio, and now on ESPN. If that ain't the craziest thing I think I've ever heard in my life, and I've never seen it before ever. I've never seen it before ever, but this was crazy that they were able to finesse a large group of people like this. Now think about this. Bishop Sycamore, on the website, it has nothing in the about section. Nothing in the about section. You can't find anything about their staff. They don't have an active roster. They're not registered with the Ohio Athletics Association as far as high school athletics. None of that, all of this is a fact. There's nothing on their athletic website. You can't find an address because it's supposed to be online. They don't have a staff directory. They don't have an active phone number. They're not registered with the state of Ohio to play athletics. And nobody from ESPN thought this, nobody thought to fact check any of this stuff. And ESPN, what they did, they put the blame on, they say a third party books their high school games. And so they put the blame on a company called Paradigm or something, and put the blame on them and say, hey, don't look at us, look at them. The problem is they didn't play this game on Paradigm's network. They played this game on ESPN against a premier team in the country. The game was getting so bad, even though these are grown men playing against kids, the game got so bad that the broadcasters for ESPN actually said, yo, this team is actually a fraud. We think that they lied about having all these top-ranked recruits, because clearly they don't. And we couldn't verify, our recruiting database couldn't verify any of these players. Rivals recruiting database couldn't verify the players. 247 couldn't verify the players. No major recruiting database could verify that this team is who they say they are. They are who they thought we were. And now a player that used to attend or attend the school has come out and said it's all fake. He went to the school before it got defunct. It's called COF Academy. It's run by the same people, but that one got shut down. And he came out and said, we lived in a hotel for 5 months. They had brochures and they recruited me and lied to me and my mom. And I went there. I moved from wherever he was from to Ohio. We lived in the hotel for 5 months. We never paid for anything. They scammed the church. They scammed the church out of their money. They scammed the hotel because they wrote bad checks. And we never won a game. We never won a game. Yeah, Brashad, he says, I feel like the producer absolutely should have did more of the due diligence. Now, I'm going to show you guys, actually, this is what makes it even funnier. So there was this clip. I don't know if you guys remember a clip that went viral about a year ago. It was during the pandemic. It was a clip that went viral about this football player, how big he was, and he was out there embarrassing cats, and they said he was in high school. And this clip went viral, and it turns out he played for Bishop Sycamore. This tweet was put out. Now, I'll make sure you guys can see this. This tweet, it says listed as 6'2", 240, Bishop Sycamore quarterback linebacker Josh Bogan is destroying opponents on both sides of the ball. Look at when this tweet was published. September 6th, 2020. So this was a year ago. This clip's got 3 million views. And I remember when this clip came out and how viral it was. And I was like, dang, this Bishop Sycamore kid is huge. I was like, man, he looks kind of abnormal. He looks like abnormally big for a high schooler. Now, obviously, some of those guys that go to Alabama and they go to Clemson and go to Ohio State, they are abnormally big for their sport, but they don't always look like the Derrick Henry probably did, but they don't look like this. Look at this. Look at Buddy. Stiff arming folks. Juking folks. Another stiff arm. Look at him at linebacker. Bow. Take it out. Bow. Now remember what I said. I said, I don't know if I said it in this broadcast, but Bishop Sycamore had guys on their team that were former JUCO players that couldn't make it a JUCO. So that means they're above the age of 19, 20, 21, some of them 22 years old playing against high schoolers. Imagine if you're a parent and your high schooler is going against a 22-year-old, 21-year-old. Your son is 17, 18, 16 years old in some places, playing against a grown man out there doing this. Think about that. This is a grown man. This is a grown man. You want to know how I know this is a grown man and not a high schooler? Because one of the guys that went to the high school said that he was 18 and he was the youngest cat on the team. He said all the other dudes was grown. This was like playing rec league football for them. Come on, man. Bishop Sycamore, that is sick. That is some sick stuff. And not to mention, he said, like he said, all the stuff was fraud and they scammed the church and they scammed the hotel and all that. And there's actually an active warrant out for the arrest of their head coach. Yes, there's an active warrant out for the arrest of the head coach of Bishop Sycamore for what? Guess what? Fraud. This stuff is insane, man. It is insane. Leave your thoughts in the chat. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, I'm Jeff Lighty Jr. with the Black Boss channel and Victory Formation. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram at VF Sports Show. We post content on there all the time. And for my Facebook people, Jeff Lighty Sports. For Facebook, Jeff Lighty Sports. I'm on there every single day. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Peace.